In 5, 4, 3,
and roll
2,
75,
1.
and music.
You are so gross!
You are.
November 10th, 2001. In millions of homes across America, Sully and Denise are welcome guests.
I can make a rhyme look like a butt. Look.
Saturday Night Live shows it still has what it takes to make America laugh. It's not easy. We were there the week this show went on the air. Our cameras were allowed where no outsiders have been before, to see a process that hasn't changed in more than 25 years.
Can I have a sandwich, please?
What you'll see tonight is how SNL got on the air in the first place, and how a room full of ideas on Monday turns into 90 minutes of live comedy in less than 6 days.
Myth number 8, mustaches on women are sexy.
Studio 8H, NBC Rockefeller Center. Saturday Night Live executive producer Lorne Michaels roams the stage. It was Michaels back in 1975 who decided to revive a form of television that was all but extinct, live sketch comedy. He's still here.
Does this bother you here? The nature of it is every time out, every week, is a different set of problems and a different set of challenges, which is why I'm still there and why there's nothing else like it. It's exhilarating because the chance of complete failure is never far away.
I'm gonna get me a shotgun and kill all the whiteys I see.
You know, in most things, people say, can I do it again? You know, I'd like to try that one more time. I think I can do a better job. Well, there's none of that with us. It's that, and the moment you're doing it, the audience is seeing it. And it's real. And there's jeopardy, you know, and that leads to people being better than we have any right to expect.
Amy, we're going to do a liver transplant.
Okay.
Even when it's their first time on the air.
I remember thinking, I just hope I don't trip or fall.
This liver's harder to rock. There you go, there you go.
Like, I couldn't believe I was on live television, and I just wanted to say my lines and not trip.
I'll tell you something, Amy, you know you would be such a lifesaver if you told me that you still have that extra liver in your bag.
Actually, you know, I believe that I do. Yes.
Belushi Samurai, the Coneheads, the Loopners, Gumby, the Church Lady, Wayne's World, and the cheerleaders all burst into our living rooms from this stage.
Roll call. I'm Ariana. I have Two-Spirit. I go to drugs, so check me out.
When I first got SNL, the cast, when they were all assembled, went and did some improv down on the stage because we just wanted to feel what the stage felt like. I started going like this. And Will started doing it, Will Ferrell, and we just started acting like real serious cheerleaders.
You ain't got no alibi. You're ugly. You're ugly. Woo!
It's pretty much a place of, you know, hey, you know that one thing we were joking about? Let's write that up. Okay, why not? Yeah, let's try it.
Why do you let them watch the MTV?
Paul, don't start with me.
You don't start with me. You like it when they talk like rap people.
That exquisitely simple idea of making your friends laugh is the premise of the show. It haunts and humbles anyone who thinks they're funny enough to work here.
Tammy, did your parents have a good trip to Europe?
I don't know. Why don't you ask them?
Beyond a television eternity, Lorne Michaels still controls the show he invented.
He's kind of always just encouraged whatever ideas I've had, but he also he keeps a little bit of a distance too, which I think he wants to maintain that a little bit, you know.
So he's not like your daddy.
No, he's kind of like the principal a little bit.
I've been sitting in your car for like an hour, and I'm tired of being treated like your fish. Yeah, that's perfect.
It's incredible. It's a dream come true. It's pretty amazing. And then asking Matt Damon, can you do a cameo? He's like, sure, and it happens. You know, it's like, that's just so weird. It's great.
Well, I think you want to call it a night. Dr. Matthews? No. Please? All right, good work.
It's like you put in the room these writers and cast members, and they're all nuts, and you know that you're crazy, and everyone's nuts, and you say, you're crazy. And you go, I know, you are, too.
Rob Reiner has tapped into what must be every young American's fantasy. To grow up, to become president, to have your wife die. And be left with the trappings of the office, free and unattached. I'm never not thinking about 11:30 Saturday night. You know, not ever.
It's always a countdown.
It absolutely is, and I think the phrase I heard Lauren use once was the show goes on at 11:30, not because it's ready, but because it's 11:30.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm Jimmy Fallon.
The first time I went to the studio was very overwhelming because you see the set. The set has been home base for the whole time. It's amazing.
There should be more violins on television and less game shows. It's terrible the way things work.
Mr. Teller, that was violence on television, not violins. Violence.
Oh, well, that's different.
Yes.
Never mind.
I think you have to try to not think of who's been there before, or you'll freeze up, you'll panic. I know, especially that when Jimmy and I started doing Update, we were sort of like we just have to do the best we can do and not worry about the shoes that we have to fill, because there was some big shoes.
The big shoes NBC was trying to fill in 1975 belonged to Johnny Carson.
President Ford has announced that he is taking immediate action on inflation, that we should all tighten our belts. The bad news is we already ate our belts.
Reruns of The Tonight Show ran on weekends. Carson wanted that stopped. The king of late night got his wish.
I had no background in entertainment at all, and it was my assignment. I had a year to roam around the country and put together a comedy show that would air in that time period.
NBC hired 27-year-old Dick Ebersol to come up with a replacement for the Carson reruns.
The show was essentially to be whatever I came up with, and if it had any kind of traction, they guaranteed it would stay on the air 6 months.
So they gave you 6 months?
Yeah.
Ebersol thought he'd be able to do dozens of pilots. NBC said he'd get just one. One chance at Saturday night.
He chose you? And he chose me, which was a very smart choice.
And now it's time once again to talk to our old friend, the Canadian Beaver.
Lorne Michaels was a writer and producer from Canada who started out as a performer.
And how's the wife?
Oh, pretty good, pretty good. Oh, she's really...
That's him on the left, playing straight man to a beaver.
Smokey the Bear is turning on
Yes, and
squirrels?
I think that's atrocious.
Really?
Michaels found he preferred working behind the camera. But writing for TV comedies like Phyllis Diller and the enormously popular Laugh-In surprised him. It wasn't much fun.
It's not telling jokes, it's just that spirit, that the goofiness, the fun of it, was missing.
Michaels envisioned a show more like Britain's Monty Python, groundbreaking, unconventional, and less predictable. He tried to communicate that to the suits at NBC.
They listened to what I said, and I used all the words that people use all the time, which were like that it would be a little experimental, and I knew that it would be a repertory company, and I knew that there'd be a different host every week, and I knew that there'd be short films on it, and I knew I was going to do a news segment, and I knew that I was going to have musical guests.
Eyewitnesses say that the bees are yellow and black.
The network bought Michaels' concept. They had no idea they had just agreed to host a revolution.
Wait a minute. You must be the... That's right, Gringo. The killer bees.
When Biography Close Up returns, Lorne Michaels hires Chevy Chase and John Belushi.
With live television, anything goes on that you want on. Oh,
Oh, you get him. Yeah, you know, I got the feeling. Oh, you see that?
Monday evening, the 17th floor, NBC, Rockefeller Center. The cast of Saturday Night Live shuffles into Lorne Michaels' office. Every writer and cast member is expected to have at least one idea for this week's show.
To me, it's like, you know, like final exams every week. It's that intense, and it's a little schizophrenic in the sense that you can have a tremendously successful Saturday night show. Everything's gone great, you know, and then you go to the party and you feel great, and then and hip, you know, you're in New York and everything. And by Monday night, if you don't have anything, you're really in a panic because you don't have any ideas.
Gwyneth Paltrow's here.
Waiting for the cast is Lorne Michaels and this week's guest host, Gwyneth Paltrow.
Thanks for having me back, everybody. I'm eating all of Lauren's popcorn.
I'd say the first 2 years I was there, I had a difficult time pitching my skits. I would be very terrified that it would get, the idea I thought was so great, would get shut down in the room and there was no getting out of it. If sometimes when you would pitch something on a Monday and nobody laughed, it would have a bad spin on it already.
Miss Paula, welcome back.
There's a bit of tension in the room. Not a lot. Something like a low-grade fever. Just enough to feel uncomfortable.
Lorne calls it the host meeting. We call it the pitch meeting.
I have a couple ideas. One is that you would be a hostess at like a New York hot dog stand, like, and you have a little podium, you know, you're right in front of the hot dog, take names and see, you know, if they're going to want it to go.
I don't think he likes it that we call it the pitch meeting. It's the host meeting, or writer's meeting or something.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe something about those trending movies like that. What's the name of that? Donna the Child. That don't say a word. Oh, yeah.
If the pitch pleases Michaels and pleases Paltrow, chances are the idea will go somewhere. Seems easy enough. After all, most of the cast learn their craft at improv groups like Second City and the Groundlings.
I got this character, I mean, you call it one is called Sugarfoot Jones, and they ladies' name. And we like dance instructors, and then I have this other scene, this commercial type scene where I sing like Michael McDonald.
I was thinking of a Mexican political talk show. Okay.
Pitching is an acquired skill.
I had a mango idea, and maybe a scene where we work at a place called Lunch Basket.
It's a kind of comedy poker. You want to be bold enough to show you're in the game, but not show everything you have. New to the game this year, writer Emily Spivey.
Emily?
Hey, Glenn. Hi. I had an idea where you would be Lee Greenwood's wife, encouraging him to write another song.
Emily just bluffed. She really doesn't have a thing. Bluffing in this room can be risky.
Well, I usually don't go the decoy route. The Lee Greenwood thing was a little bit of a decoy, but it got a laugh, so then I sat down and tried to write it, so we'll see.
I played this dude named Ollie.
Michaels first started listening to pitches in this office in 1975, and for the next 3 months wandered the comedy circuit searching for talent.
Deer were running in Rockefeller Center at that point because the city was going broke. There was nothing but space available at 30 Rock. We looked at various places for offices and ended up on the 17th floor. And then I began hiring people.
NBC wanted Michaels to hire mainstream talent, like impressionist Rich Little and football star Joe Namath. Instead, Michaels sought a cast that more resembled the audience he was trying to attract. A group of disaffected baby boomers that became known as the not ready for primetime players. First among equals was a comedy writer named Chevy Chase.
I met Chevy on a line at a thing called FilmX, which was a sort of film festival in L.A., waiting to see the new Monty Python film.
Michaels offered Chevy a job as a writer. Chevy wanted to be a performer. They couldn't make a deal, so Chevy walked away.
So I just turned it down and started to do a play with Paul Lind, and I just was the wrong guy for it. And so I went to a payphone only perhaps a day before I was to be fired anyway, and called Lorne in New York and said, "Is that offer still good?" And he said, "Yes, it is."
Would you please put the patient to sleep?
Certainly. Our sermonette this evening is brought to you.
Chevy had also appeared in a stage show called National Lampoon's Lemmings, a perfect example of the kind of humor popular in clubs and concert halls in the 70s that just wasn't seen on TV.
All right, the first incision is always the most difficult.
Lemmings also featured a young Christopher Guest. The performer everyone came to see, though, was John Belushi.
Okay, first of all, I'd like to welcome you to the Woodchuck Memorial Festival of Peace, Love, and Death.
Belushi wanted to be on Michael's new show, yet he acted as though TV was somehow beneath him.
He says, I know you're doing this television show, and I said, yeah, we're doing it, and he says, you know, I don't do television. There's nothing good on television. So I say, right, I mean, that's I certainly respect that, and but, you know, what I'm doing is a television show. So, thanks for coming in, and he said, well, no, I mean, you're going to be doing something different, and everybody says that you're on to, and I go, but I don't want you to do me any favors.
Against his instincts, but at everyone else's insistence, Michaels hired Belushi. Here's a camera test of Belushi that's never been shown on television before.
Okay, let's work on the eyebrows now. Ready? Right eyebrow, up, down, and start. Okay, left, up, down, up, down, up, down. Okay, up, down. Fine, good. Waiter.
Much to Belushi's chagrin, it was Chevy Chase who became the star.
Chevy used to do this thing that could make me laugh more than anything, which was he'd fall, but he'd fall in a restaurant. He could take out a table. He was just brilliant doing it. And then somehow Jerry Ford fell fortuitously, and then somehow Chevy became Gerald Ford.
That's your final Christmas tree ornament on the tree. No problem.
Chevy was falling, he was writing, and Michaels knew he was connecting with the audience. Michaels had planned to save one segment of Saturday Night Live for himself, the news parody he performed on his own show in Canada.
The future of the Canadian puck industry is now being seriously threatened. The reason? Dutch puck disease.
That, too, went to Chevy.
And now, Weekend Update with Chevy Chase.
No. I love it when you make noise.
He wanted to say, I don't know, I'm Walter, Crankcase or something like that. And I said, no, I'm not going to have that. It was just sloppy comedy.
Remember when... I got to go.
And so I went, no, you say your own name. And so he did.
Good evening. I'm Chevy Chase, and you're not.
And I think because he did, people knew who he was immediately. And then
the next thing you know, he's on the cover of New York Magazine.
Yeah. And everything began to change.
When Biography Close Up returns, staying up late then...
I only did cocaine to stay awake to make sure no one else did too much.
And now...
Carbs is the key to good comedy.
We're pretty lame now compared to what I've read happened. We're very, people have beers once a week, and we get real excited if we bring in donuts. It's gone from heroin to Krispy Kreme. But so is America, really, don't you think?
The very first Saturday Night Live relied on guest host George Carlin doing his stand-up routine.
Talking about a live show. Don't move. There's a bee in your hand.
But by week 4, when Candice Bergen hosted, it began to look more like the show we see today.
Just go on. Ignore the bee. I'll take care of it. You just go on. Go on.
Just go on with the show? Really, it was like the inmates took over the asylum, and it was thrilling.
Don't hurt the bee.
Oh, I won't hurt the bee. No. Okay. It's just a script. Just going to shoot away. Go on, little bee. Go on. Come on. Shoot.
I remember it was a complete out-of-body experience, and then I remember Lauren saying to me afterward that I looked like Patty Hearst as the SLA flung open the door to her apartment.
I'd like everybody's attention, please. I have an announcement to make. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, due to the low Nielsen ratings, we at NBC have decided to, unfortunately, cancel Star Trek.
Fire at my command.
The adrenaline and energy on stage reached through the TV screen.
I have a contract! I have a contract! I want my... Where's my ears? I want my ears!
It was raw, immediate, unpredictable. The culture of America's baby boomers had finally found its way to TV. The revolution was being televised.
Spear chucker.
Whack trash. Jungle bunny. Hunky. Spade. Hunky hunky. Dead hunky.
Even the staid, gray New York Times thought it was funny, calling it the most important thing to happen to TV comedy since Sid Caesar in the 50s. The ratings were not yet great, but the buzz was unbelievable.
NBC Saturday Night!
Saturday Night Live stunned the TV establishment that first season by winning the Emmy for writing.
And I just want to reassure Buck that we are writing at the moment. And even as I'm speaking now, writing is going on, and the show will go on Saturday.
Chevy Chase, NBC Saturday Night.
Chevy collected an Emmy along with the rest of the writers, but he also won for his acting. As he was accepting the Emmys, he was planning to leave the show.
Needless to say, this is totally expected on my part.
I wish I hadn't left, but I did. I had to marry this girl that I was in love with, that Lauren knew was the wrong girl for me. Everyone knew, but I didn't know I was infatuated.
Did you feel betrayed when Chevy left the show?
Betrayed is strong. I think we were too close for that. I didn't really understand it when it was happening because he was so much a part of the creation of the show.
How did it affect your relationship with Lauren when you said,
I think bad. I think it was bad because, but he'd never say that. And we're like this today, but never quite the same.
Chris, just look at their schedule and try to work it all out.
What is the same since 1975 is the Tuesday night writing session. It begins about 6 o'clock.
This, by the way, is not network television. It's late night television. A little difference. This is actually day-old food. We get a little special on it. It still tastes just as good.
Those great ideas pitched to Lauren and Gwyneth on Monday now need to turn into comedy.
You're going to be like staying at the Four Seasons?
Yeah, it would be like Elton John staying at the Four Seasons, like offering up assistance to people in the sauna, like trying to give people massages and neck rubs and stuff.
Some of the writers and cast will stay till 3 or 4 in the morning. Others will still be wrestling with a joke or a punchline when the sun comes up.
You just walk around, have coffee, joke, mess around, and you wait for inspiration. I think most people do. I don't think a lot of us spend a lot of time off the show, jotting down ideas. Although that would be a good idea, but it never seems to come like that.
Where do you guys work at?
We're doing Spelling Denise, but we're just starting now.
Oh.
We're doing it Bobby and Marty style.
Yeah.
Starting now, and we'll finish on Thursday.
Where are you going to put them?
We're thinking about maybe them going to their fall formal.
I feel kind of like I'm going to barf, but I want to keep eating.
That's good.
I like the schedule. I like staying up late on Tuesdays with the writers and thinking we had something funny and jamming all night long and trying to make it as good as we can make it.
So you're working in a sketch?
Yeah.
Right?
Right here.
And you have the idea for
I've
it?
got the open on.
Mm-hmm.
I've created the setting.
Right.
And yet there's no dialogue. So, but that's where this button comes. F8. Watch. No, wrong button. F6. Types it all up for you. No, wrong button.
We call her Crayola, but she prefers Chanterelle.
Finding out what's funny is often a matter of trial and error. Writer and cast members in a search for silliness.
You like Crayola or Chanterelle?
I like all three.
I mean, I like having it. Does it make sense? Like her nickname is one thing, but her name is something. I like that her nickname. I like that her nickname is Crayola. She go by Crayola, but she prefers Chanterelle. Word, because her real name is Wendy.
There will be a read-through of all the new material tomorrow afternoon. If the writing isn't completed tonight, it's too late for this week's show.
Are we going to get into the running into the back of the car now, or getting into her name?
Writers often hook up with cast members to work on a sketch. But the writers write for whomever they please. So the cast knows the best way to ensure themselves a place in the show is by writing themselves into it.
Leaving a note for a writer here. He's late.
Do you ever panic on Tuesday night?
A little bit if I can't, like if I arranged writing something with somebody and he's too busy right now.
You're late.
It's like, well, I don't want to wait till 2 in the morning to start.
Chris. See?
Yeah, you got to keep things simple here. Because if comedy gets too complicated, then it's just not funny. You understand? Ah, God. So, sometimes. Well, right now I have a couple ideas, so I think I'll be okay. I think. Unless they're not funny. They could not be funny at all.
He has to run to get off stage. I just get the surprise, you guys. I love that.
Some people didn't go home last week. I left about 4:30, which is pretty early for me.
Oh my God, that was pain.
Once you're performing it, it's fun. That's the fun part. It's the writing and like the worry of, is this funny enough, and what character should I do, and should I bring this character back, and what's the host going to want to do, and...
It's a lot of anxiety.
Yep. Yeah. Probably the perfect job for me.
This is where you start, this for me actually, what I do is I open up the thing like I'm going to write a sketch, and then she sits here until about 4 in the morning.
We have these buck-teeth English girls who love horses, but we're just trying to put them into the scene.
Are they going to wear like those godhoppers?
Yeah.
Dennis had written this sketch a couple years ago. Okay. It was like these two guys, Flacco and Teddy, selling Martin Luther King Day trees, which were like old Christmas trees. And Tracy's Flacco, and he was saying that it would be really funny if you and Tracy could do these characters. You'd be a new one, and you'd be selling like bunk, like anthrax protection units. Okay. You know, like so like old pantyhose you'd put over your face, or like, you know, lemon pledge or something like that you'd spray on your skin. You know, like just a whole bunch of like bunko products that you're trying to make a buck with.
Okay, and we can punch it out.
Exactly.
Okay.
Right.
I'm just type in for now, just nervous guy. Cast names. Gwyneth. I mean, like, maybe Catan or Will. I mean, I'll put in Will for now. He's always solid. Open on, let's say, Office. That's a lot of work right there. I'm probably gonna take a break now.
What your sketch is gonna get tomorrow? Snickers?
Hey, come on, my sketch is gonna get more than Snickers tomorrow. My sketch is gonna get Twizzlers tomorrow. Starburst is what's gonna happen tomorrow. That's what's gonna happen tomorrow here on the 17th floor. I'm enjoying what they're gonna get out of my sketch tomorrow. Joy, at least. Maybe not almonds. So much. Man, she really gets me.
Yeah, she does. She gets you every time.
She gets me every time. She gets me. Snickers, the same joke. My sketch is gonna get Snickers tomorrow.
There are nights where I have so much fun that I can't believe I'm getting paid to laugh so hard. Just late night delirium where you're amusing yourselves and you're on a roll about something. But we do have a joke all the time of people going through the halls doing a big comedy bit and laughing and doing a big accent and, you know, climbing around and putting something on their head, and you always go, they don't have any ideas.
This is how Saturday Night Live gets written.
Ooh, I'm not Colin. It's me, Colin Quinn. Oh, it's Colin Quinn. All right. Good to see you again, Colin. It's 1 o'clock. I still haven't done anything. That's what happened. I'm out of it.
That's pretty funny if it's revealed that they can't really read or write. That they're just they've got a good horse sense.
This is how special this place is. Being here on a Tuesday one night, it got thick up there, you know, you want to clear your head. So I came down to the 8th floor, which where we at now, 8H.
nobody down here but a soul. And I came in here in my dressing room. And I could just feel the spirits, you know, John Belushi. And I'm not saying that they're ghosts or anything like that, but you know, you can feel it. And it kind of shook me, and I ran to the elevator, went back upstairs where everybody else was.
When Biography Close Up returns, try making these guys laugh.
I love you! Love you!
Today at 8:38 a.m. Hi, Dan. It's the Gemini twins calling.
Music composer and arranger Dan Rosengart is in early Wednesday morning. He has a phone message from Maya Rudolph explaining the concept for a song in a sketch.
It's sort of got that, like, we realized later in the middle of it that there's sort of like that, man, give man at home kind of thing. I'll think it's funny. Red is the color of my heart. White is the color of your life. Blue is what you're gonna be.
From this phone message, Rosengart and musical director Lenny Pickett
It's all the same chords, isn't it?
will craft the instrumentation and sound that will turn Maya's idea into a music video.
A year's worth of sketch music looks like this. This was last season, but of that, you know,
maybe
a quarter of it
made it, maybe, you know. And a lot of the stuff that gets completely produced gets thrown out after dress rehearsal. It's enough. Cool, yeah. When they were doing television, when Sid Caesar was doing this show, they did it exactly the same way.
Tuesday night's writing session turned out 27 new sketches. Sometimes it's 40 or more. Watching all the collating, we couldn't help but wonder if somehow Rob Schneider's Making Copies guy got his inspiration here. It's now Wednesday afternoon, and time for the read-through.
Gwyneth, Will, Anna, and Amy sit around dining room table silently eating their food. Amy is Will and Anna's teenage daughter.
I ran into Mike Reynolds today down at the car wash, and he told me
Was
that...
Kathy there?
Why is every time I speak, you feel that you need to speak as well?
Honey, I just...
Why is that?
I just...
Why is that?
It never stops being creative. Like, whenever I'm grumpy about it, I come in and, I don't know, Will puts me in that family dinner sketch. It can be like Christmas, you know? You sit down and you look at that pack and you're like, oh my God, I have all these cool characters.
Riding the stationary bicycle! Big time!
The writers and cast are joined by the designers, the technicians, and the NBC censor. What was hilarious at 3 in the morning is sometimes less amusing now.
I'm sporting my signature cream-colored tux, as well as a top hat I bought last summer at Hats in the Belfry in Quincy. Not too shabby. Read-through, I'm not really, you gotta do it, but it's a bunch of jaded comedy nerds in there.
These are my own creations. Zazu's famous shots in a blanket.
You know, no one laughs. They all just sit around and go, that's funny. Or you hear like a fake laugh, like, ha!
In just 3 days, the show will go on the air. What's in it will come primarily from this read-through. What doesn't make it, and that's most of the material written last night, will be tossed aside.
Hey, babe. Hey, Studley.
Please, I have fun tonight.
Are you still going to work for me this Saturday?
Work on the cream Crenshaw.
Really? You know I will, but I thought we were going to go see Mike and the Mechanics and then go home and see Miami Vice.
It is a very quiet room. I mean, this is the third, comedy show I've worked on, and it's a harsh room. It's a jaded, we've heard it all kind of room.
Since everyone wants to get their own material on the show, it's not always a good idea to laugh at someone else's sketch.
They immediately go to the doctor, assuming they have anthrax. Turns out it was only their cook who'd been trying to poison them. Isn't that just dreadful? I mean, don't you love it? I love it. It's just deluxe. I mean, people are just so skittish these days. I mean, it seems like everyone's just overreacting.
We writers gain nothing by showing our appreciation for other writers' works.
She was completely out of it by takeoff. I know. I heard that when she came to, she had an asymmetrical haircut and had married the gay purser during the flight. Isn't that just the limit? I love it! Ah.
It's not in a writer's interest to laugh heartily at someone else's, because if, in fact, the way a sketch is picked is that it gets the biggest laughs, well, by rooting audibly for someone else's stuff, that isn't really helping your own work.
You have to also remember that no one's had any sleep. So you have about 100 people sitting in a room that have had about 3 hours of sleep in a hot room, and I've had so many times where I've had something that I was so excited about and thought, oh, this is going to do well. And then you can just tell if they're not into it at the beginning when the whole idea is unfolding, and you just kind of go, this just isn't going to go.
Pray tell, what mischief?
Now screw it, 5 in 1 troll. 5 in 1?
Yeah, just say sick.
While it's important to make the room laugh, it's even more important Lorne thinks it's funny.
I think there's been some mistake. I was supposed to get a bikini wax from...
A white guy? Damn. You know, blacks aren't just shoe shiners and train porters anymore. We're doctors, lawyers, accountants, and we also wax ladies' doodles.
When it comes to Lorne Michaels at that table, I shoot high. I'm looking to get Lorne to spit his carrots out. Because Lorne sits, he drinks water, and he eats carrots through the whole read through. And he's seen it all, every trick in the book. So when I'm doing my sketch, I'm trying to go hard to get him spitting popcorn out and spitting carrots out. And I've done it. I've done it like 7 times. And that's like the bullseye. Bow! You hear his funny bone. Bow!
I can't wait to put this on television.
Hi, welcome to Lubbock State Penitentiary. I'm Warden Roy Groomis, and welcome to the first local televised execution of convicted mass murderer Dean Slidell.
Michaels has always been eager to test the limits of what's funny.
Cuts, makeup, can we get in here, please? Sorry, fellas. Dean, honey, having a little bit of trouble with your face. You got an angry nose shadow. Can you get that, Francis? Yeah. You're perfect. Okay, you got...
In season 2, Chevy was gone, but that meant there was more time for the rest of the cast.
Now, how did the IQ of white intellectual superiority originate in the first place?
Well, that's a very interesting point. My theory is that it's based on the fact that light-skinned blacks are smarter than dark-skinned blacks.
And there was a new cast member, Bill Murray. He was not an immediate hit.
I'm a little bit concerned. I don't think I'm making it on the show. I'm a funny guy, but I haven't been so funny on the show. My friends say, how come they're giving you all those parts that aren't funny? Well, it's not the material, it's me.
Some in the audience resented the newcomer they saw as Chevy's replacement.
This morning I picked up my laundry. The guy says to me, Bill, you know, every time you come in here, you say something funny. But I saw you on the show Saturday night, and you stunk. Okay, Beldar Conehead. That's great. Now, since you're currently employed as a driving school instructor? Correct.
Steve Martin became a frequent guest host. The ratings soared.
Isn't this the drink the astronauts took to the moon? Astronauts to the moon!
Every catchy line became a part of the American lexicon.
Jane, you ignorant slut. Cheeseburger. Excuse me.
In seasons 2, 3, and 4, Saturday Night Live was a show as much worshipped as watched. To miss it was to be left out.
There's no other pair of Czech brothers who cruise and swing so successfully in tight slacks. We are two wild and crazy guys.
They became an establishment of their own because their success was so sustained and their impact on the culture was so huge.
I once thought I must have met everybody who did anything of note in the 70s because they all came to the show. They either were hanging out at the show or on the show. There was just sort of a lot of people coming one way or another to hang around. They were a friend of a writer or a friend of someone, or they were working as helping in some manner, or they were just drug dealers, I guess.
Our president's view on marijuana.
Well, I guess if they're going to legalize it, might as well learn how to.
Drugs then were easy to get and viewed as basically benign. For some of the SNL cast, drugs became a convenient crutch.
And I think anybody will tell you, anybody who becomes a big, famous star is going to be scared to death, and they're all going to self-medicate, every one of them. Because why? Because they're so frightened, they're sure they're going to be caught someday. somebody's going to find out that they're really not that good.
I always say it would be impossible to do the kind of show we do week after week and do drugs, which actually was the opposite of the truth. but it sounded good.
Well, it's a buried treasure.
Is it buried in the lawn?
No, it's buried on Uncle Roy.
Whatever was going on behind the scenes,
Work the pants, work the pants.
on the air, America kept laughing. Saturday Night Live could do no wrong, nor could its cast. John Belushi starred in Animal House, and the Blues Brothers, a routine Belushi and Aykroyd put together to warm up the audience, was suddenly making hit records.
At that time, Saturday Night Live was the #1 television show. Animal House was the #1 movie, and the Blues Brothers' first album was the #1 album, all at one time. And to my knowledge, no one's ever done that since or before.
The Blues Brothers went on the road. They sold out everywhere. Doing Saturday Night Live became less important.
You felt that you had to strike when the iron was hot. You had to go with what you had. So yeah, it did. The Blues Brothers kind of did take John and Dan away from Saturday Night Live a year early.
Belushi and Aykroyd were released from their contracts. In season 5, the show would go on, still hot, but cooling quickly.
We've given you everything. You wanted the spiked sword, we gave you the spiked sword. You wanted the slave girl, we gave you the slave girl. Is this how you thank us?
I don't know.
Answer your mother when she talks to you.
The first show of the 5th season was Steve Martin Again. And I remember being in a sketch called The Vandals, in which I played the part Belushi would have played. And I remember being on the air, playing the part, thinking, this would be so much better if Belushi were doing this. Which is not what you should be thinking as an actor.
The rocket that was Saturday Night Live was coming back to Earth.
You're very lucky to have parents like those, Brad. You listen to them. They're good parents. Lieutenant, have the 3 of them put to death.
Something could only be avant-garde for so long before it became garde. And I mean, I think, you can never have that kind of excitement and freshness that it had when it was the only thing like that on television, and it was just, people were just rocked out of their seats by like, what is this weirdness?
To make things worse, times were tough at NBC. Network president Fred Silverman couldn't buy a hit, which made him a ripe target.
You know who gets complete door-to-door limousine service from NBC? Fred Silverman. Now, here's a guy who is a total, unequivocal failure. Okay, the guy's been here 2 years, and he hasn't done diddly squat.
We basically had contempt for network executives, and the idea that someone would come in and tell us what to do was laughable, which is, we learned later, not the way it necessarily always works.
Silverman never did like the show. Now it was personal. The cast 5-year contracts were running out. Everyone, including Michaels, was exhausted, and keeping him around was apparently not a network priority.
In the way that Chevy says, if somebody had just put their hand on my shoulder and said, we want you to stay, I think if the network had done that with me, I think I probably would have stayed. But I think what I most wanted was some sense of being appreciated. And I think you can ask for almost anything except being appreciated.
When Biography Close Up returns, Saturday Night dead.
It was America's most loved television program, and we were ruining it.
Nothing says, hey, scary foreign people, don't mess with America more than my song.
The Wednesday afternoon read-through continues.
Girl, I woke up this morning and I looked into your eyes.
There you go.
You are a big American I don't have any other songs. I don't know how to write songs that aren't about how much I love the USA.
Emily's Lee Greenwood sketch is pretty good, but not good enough. Of the more than 24 sketches offered up today, 12 will be picked to go into production.
From that line, I gotta have a sweet horse and a fast horse and good animal. I got a secret. I do so love horses. I do love them as well. Let's ride on pillows.
The criteria, above all, is it funny?
I love you! Love you! When I had my first hit single 30 years ago, I never imagined that one day all of my dreams would come true. Win numerous Grammys, marry Elvis's daughter, turn my backyard into an amusement park, make out with a llama, and then have my nose surgically replaced with an electric socket. Someone get me!
Then, is it arable?
Dick Petersworth, Dick Brown, Dick McFeely.
One of the funniest sketches we heard was about an adult film award show.
Okay, I'm finishing up. And I have a message for Osama bin Laden, just like my character said in When Larry Ate Sally.
Too racy, even for Saturday night.
And stick it up my...
Then, is it doable?
Latin production number. Maya's flamboyant Latin talk show host Rebecca wearing a white strapless mini dress. She is flanked by dancers wearing congas and accordions and colorful ruffled bolero tops. Close-up of Horatio in a sequin jacket and feathered hair.
Can the production team build the set or perform the technical wonders the sketch demands?
What are you saying?
I left the water running. I did.
Don't tell me that.
I can't help it. I now remember.
Honey, what's happening? Oh, God! The house is flooding. Honey! I'm having trouble breathing.
I left everything on. The sink, the coffee pot, the toy.
And the door.
That does it. I'm turning the car around.
I think Spear's gonna go out. Is Spear going out? They'll stay in.
After read-through, Michaels and a handful of senior staff meet behind closed doors to discuss what will be chosen to be produced this week.
Does Gemini's twin have anything at the top?
Can all the sketches fit into the studio?
I mean, before she comes in.
Can the star and cast make the costume changes? Are the sketches different enough to provide real variety?
I'm just trying to think if I can do it, if we can go right out of the monologue into it. If she need change.
I think you're going to want to go with Sully and Denise anyway, and she's got the late entrance in that.
And can you go right to the top of Sully and Denise without a parody?
As long as you don't put Jimmy and Rachel in the monologue.
Where are you going to put King of Pops?
Probably home base.
Megha's at home today. Sully and Denise is not. Gemini's twin is not. But they probably, for Hardball, are going to have to be all over the studio, remember?
Can somebody else go into Atterbury's for Catan? Is he necessary for that?
He certainly committed to it. Now, with that said, I don't know what I'm going to say to you Friday night when I get everything.
I know.
Sorry.
It's Friday. It's only Wednesday.
So this is it?
Yeah.
Hey, Doll, it's Eliza. I need Norm.
Immediately, as decisions are made about what sketches will be produced, a room full of costume and set designers scramble to put form to idea. It's a chaotic and creative frenzy.
They're strip lights.
I understand that.
You just put duvetine over them, or even black tape.
Tom, from Sully and Denise, what would you like her to look like?
She could have a sexy look to it, you know.
Yeah, I think if you start doing the dancers like this, photograph.
Then it would just be the photo of Congress. That's good.
The energy and anxiety level gets ratcheted up a notch because in 72 hours, the show goes on the air.
Keep it moving, people. Come on.
His nose would
That's
be the
what I'm
only
saying.
thing. His chin and his face would be pushed out and make his face look small.
He should basically just wear white gloves for his hands.
Sets must be built, costumes sewn, and time is at a premium.
When I'm looking at a flag right now, I'm from the bottom going up, I'm gonna come up 2 more stripes.
Especially if you need an American flag that's 48 feet wide.
See, that's the problem, is we spend...
All this on
it's 2 minutes of the show, and it's 5 hours of time just discussing it when there's a whole rest of the show to do.
When I was originally trying to figure out the schedule, because I'd only really done specials, I'd never done this kind of series, the best I could do was get it down to 2 weeks. And then there was just no way to do it in 2 weeks. There just wasn't the 2 weeks. So what I did was I put 2 days on each day.
But in 1981, Lorne Michaels was no longer with the show. Season 6 of Saturday Night Live started with an all-new cast and a new producer. Gene Domanian replaced Michaels.
It was awful. The show was awful. They called it Saturday Night Dead, and it was well-deserved. It was so bad. It was like you'd be walking down the street, people would say, hey, you're the new guy for the new Saturday Night Live, right? We'd say, yeah. They say, you stink. You know, and it wasn't that bad, but it was, we just didn't have time to gel. All the good intentions were there, and we were god-awful.
There's going to be a high-pressure system in the Midwest for most of next week.
Ouch.
God's will, sweetheart. What do you want from me?
The ratings dropped like a stone.
By the end of January, they were down to half the audience the show had had the year before. I mean, they literally lost half the rating.
I'm a working stiff. That's all I am. I'm just like this working actor. It's all I've ever wanted to do. And to go on and try to replace these, I mean, it was America's most loved television program, and we were ruining it.
I said snow starting out in the Rockies. Whoops.
Saturday Night Live had become a joke. Domanian was fired, and NBC turned to one of the show's founding fathers to save it.
And I went, me?
When Biography Close Up returns, Gemini's twin with a message for America.
I think starting on like 3.
Noon Thursday. Each of the sketches that has gone into production requires polishing, rewriting.
Another thing that's big is I'm so lucky.
In one room, the writers are reworking an Emmy acceptance speech for Will Ferrell for the Emmy he didn't win.
Is he holding a prop of like a fake? Yeah, like there might be some funny joke in that.
Thursday is my least favorite day, the rewrite day. It's arduous. It's long. I hate it, actually.
Lauren wasn't crazy about the stuff about his other name.
Writing a sketch with someone or by yourself is more fun than trying to improve a sketch that you didn't write.
He's not a fire. No, he looked like Doc Severinsen.
I feel a responsibility sometimes to try to make things work at the rewrite table. When maybe I know that I don't know that they are going to work. It's just a long, boring day. It feels like a school day.
Think you got it? I could replace the amusement park with the sleeping in an
oxygen canister.
You like that better?
Yeah.
In another room, Hugh Fink and Dennis McNicholas discuss potential guests for Fink's Michael Jackson sketch. Who would be funnier, Whitney Houston or the Elephant Man's Bones?
I guess you could do, you could just do famous people, then do a long run of 7 just child actors who you don't really know.
Little Bow Wow?
That's Big Trevor. These kids that are like that and stuff like that.
Can you paint box them so that they're shirtless?
These pills got it all. They protect you against anthrax, Lyme disease,
ringworms, and ashy elbow.
In Studio 8H, Dean Edwards and Tracy Morgan run through their Flacco and Rufus sketch.
So I want to be on a type 2 show than you guys by then, so you want to be going all over.
anthrax, Lyme disease.
The sets aren't finished. They're being built at the Brooklyn Navy Yard. Director Beth McCarthy makes do with a garbage can.
So when Gwyneth is waiting for her entrance, you can grab the boombox and press play and put it back down.
Don't worry about her look, because I can go further up stage, but I don't know how far your son is coming down stage.
The rehearsals and blocking go on all day. It's not much fun. There's a feeling that people are only here because they have to be.
Mark.
That changes early Friday morning. Silver Cup Studios in Queens. James Signorelli, Saturday Night Live's resident filmmaker, shoots the music video featuring Gemini's twin, Saturday Night send-up of Destiny's Child. No expense is spared. It will look like the real thing on MTV.
36 hours to air. We should be finished by this piece, 9 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Saturday.
Yeah, 24 hours. What she has to do there is she has to have some,
right.
thing to do when she's coming in there. Right now she's just
walking
coming in. Yeah, watch it with me. 24 to 26 hours. That's about as fast as it can go, and it's also as long as it can take, mercifully. It can't take any longer than that.
By lunchtime, Anna, Maya, and Gwyneth are back at NBC. Studio 8H is starting to hum now.
I just need to... No, not that. I just want to
Sets arrive, costumes go on. It's 36 hours to air.
Is there backing on this side, too?
If you use it as an entrance, then there'll be a vacuum.
The sketches are run and rerun.
Are we doing this again?
We are going to do it again very soon.
The repetition helps the cast and camera people develop a comfort level with the material. Assuming, that is, it all gets past the NBC censor.
We got censor problems always with updates.
The TV audience is going to take a triple take.
Yeah.
The sets built in Brooklyn are made in pieces small enough to fit into an elevator, then crammed into Studio 8H, a space originally designed for radio.
See how easy we make it, though?
By the winter of 1981, Lorne had left, and NBC's mega hit, Saturday Night Live, had tanked. Dick Ebersol became the new executive producer, and while he admits he didn't know much about show business, he did recognize the talent of a newcomer just out of high school.
Anytime we get something going good, y'all got to move in on it. In the 60s, we wore platform shoes, then y'all had to wear platform shoes. In the early 70s, we braided our hair, then in the late 70s, you had to braid your hair. Now it's 1980. We on welfare, and by the end of next year, y'all gonna be on welfare too.
I said, who's he? And they said, well, he's in a few of the shows. He's an extra. His name's Eddie Murphy. And man, I knew, that God, if I took this job, God had given me the greatest gift in the world, because this kid had more talent than anybody before or since in the history of the show.
I'm old and I've worked with everybody, but I don't know that I've seen anybody that fluid on camera, that naturally funny.
Why am I here? Why am I here? Why am I here working with this no-talent, drunken hypochondriac horse? That nag could not get a job on a merry-go-round.
Look, Gumby, millions of people, they're going to turn on their sets tomorrow night because they want to see Gumby and Pokey back together again. The great team reunited.
Look, I swore I would never work with that lame plug nag again.
Look, face it, Gumby. You're having trouble getting Play-Doh commercials. You need this.
Let me tell you something, Mr. Smarty Alec. I don't need anybody. I don't need the money. From my residuals from my old show, I can buy this network. I'm a very rich piece of gum, baby. A very rich piece of gum.
Saturday Night Live's very survival depended on Murphy. He delivered.
Calvin Klein? Mm-mm. Jordache? Mm-mm. Sassoon? Mm-mm.
But we get
Buckwheat jeans.
Okay.
I had to figure out how to get Eddie into a live show as many times as possible in the first half hour, because one thing's never changed about Saturday Night Live from 75 to 2001 or 2, and that is you got to have the goods in the first half hour. There is no competition to Saturday Night Live. There never has been, other than sleep.
Ebersol had Murphy, but he had also sought the support of Lorne Michaels. This third incarnation of Saturday Night Live had his blessing.
And I'll never forget, the day before the show was to come back on the air, he had his longtime assistant walk over to the studio and hand me this very small box. And in the box was the duck he'd worn on his lapel for every show he'd ever produced.
The lucky duck.
Yeah, and I almost tear up now thinking about it, because it was the ultimate bond of a brother, and the certification that this was something that we had brought to this point, and he was really rooting for it to work, and it meant everything in the world to me. Of course, I had to send the duck back after the first show.
When Biography Close Up returns...
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're up effects 2.
12 hours to get it right.
Cart. What's going on?
We forgot our card.
Wait for us. Jimmy. Oh, you should have waited longer, Wally. 11:30 we'll try it.
Now it's time for Fiesta Politica with your host, Rebecca!
It's 12 hours to air. Throughout the day Saturday, there are more rehearsals. Now with costumes, sets, and wigs, all to see if what people thought would work does work.
Wow, look at you. Without the turban, I can tell you're one of the good ones.
The way I most know him is not this haircut.
No.
It's the haircut where it's like all like kind of wet and brushed back with a couple pieces down. And
Beth McCarthy gives new guys Seth Meyers and Jeff Richards the do's and don'ts of wig wear.
you know, be nice about it, but don't feel bad about speaking up and saying
I
to
mean,
the
it's
person
something we
doing
should
it.
do as early as Wednesday. I mean, when a piece goes, should we...
I just know that stuff that they never tell you guys.
Right.
And you learn, what, season 3?
The sketches begin to resemble what they'll look like tonight.
Let me guess. The bear shot her.
Yes, that's what happened.
I ain't falling for that again.
It's the truth. Ask her.
The mood is loose. Screw-ups are welcome.
We're going to the movies or not?
Cool it, Mr. Snippy. If I'm not back by 10 o'clock, call the rape police.
Chris Kattan's invited Matt Damon to be a part of tonight's Mango sketch. The movie star spends the whole day here for a few seconds on stage.
Hey, watch it!
Meanwhile, Darrell Hammond is preparing for his appearance as Defense Secretary Donald Rumsfeld.
Well, they stand around you like 5 people, and you just stand there, and they pull things off and put things on. And you.
Darryl holds the record, I think, for most quick change.
Hammond says it's more important to have fun with the character he's playing than to make fun of the person he's imitating.
I don't want to make fun of him. I just want to make sure that I take him and just exaggerate him.
Yeah, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
A choreographer runs extras through the steps for the Michael Jackson sketch.
6, 7, and 8. Get us the best so far.
New cast member Dean Edwards does a drop-dead Michael Jackson.
When I first had my first hit single 30 years ago, I never imagined that one day all my dreams would come true.
New guys don't usually get much airtime. This could be Dean's big break.
To me, interesting. Yeah. I got into this whole, entertainment mainly for Eddie Murphy. He was my biggest inspiration. I saw Eddie Murphy Delirious, and after I saw that, ran in the room, Ma, I know what I want to do. I want to be a comedian. I'm going to be just like Eddie Murphy. She's like, he's one in a million. I said, well, I'm going to be number 2.
Eddie Murphy became a movie star and left Saturday Night Live in 1984. To fill the void, Dick Ebersol decided against a cast of fresh new faces. Instead, he went for names.
Give me a break. I couldn't be more excited, I must say. This anticipation, it's making me mental. But if they say yes, you can be on the show, I think I would go so crazy. It would be just the best.
And he said, well, we're going after Billy Crystal and Christopher Guest, and he named the list, and Harry Shearer, and I said, well, if you get those people, certainly phone back. Thinking he'd never get them, he got them phoned back, and then I said yes.
Today, I took one of them meat thermometers. Yeah. And I just shoved it into my ear, as far as it could go, But then I took one of them...
Alpine hammers.
Right.
Many thought the show would die without Eddie Murphy. The new cast proved otherwise.
Ringo, may I call you Ringy, what do you like? Call me Ringo. Ringo, I'll do that. It must be very difficult to you to live with a marvelous beauty. You look marvelous, darling.
When that first cast left, oh, well, they'll never get anyone good. And suddenly you had Eddie and different people. And then they left, well, it's finished, and you had a new cast. And then when we left, they said, well, it's in trouble.
I know that. Why wouldn't I know that? It's my company. I'm quite aware of that. Is it me? It's him, right?
After 4 years, Dick Ebersol, the man who had saved the show, was ready to move on. Lorne Michaels had been busy making movies, but NBC let him know that, unless he took the show back, Saturday Night Live was finished.
Now they really were going to cancel it. And I think that's when I found out how much I cared about it.
When we come back, dress rehearsal. Now the audience gets a chance.
This is live. This is not fake. is how a black man turns into a white woman.
It's Saturday night, 8 o'clock. Dress rehearsal.
Live! This is not fake. This is talent on air live, which means we need you guys. We need the energy. We need the love.
All of the week's work gets tested in front of a live audience. They'll see a dozen sketches in 2 hours. 8 or 9 of them will make it to the 90-minute show. On the same stage where Bill Murray and Gilda Radner brought down the house, Amy Poehler, Jimmy Fallon, and Rachel Dratch prove they can do it too.
I need you to cock your head a little to the left, all right? Just cock it. Give me a little more cock.
Tommy, you got lift.
Offstage under the bleachers, Lorne Michaels watches. He looks for the glitches that prevent the sketches from being as funny as they could be.
I'm worried about her eyeline. Yeah. Where's she playing to?
Crisis averted. Yo, so I have a question for the new girl. Who are you?
I'm the new member. They call me Chancerelle. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we call her that because her real name is Bridget. Mm-hmm. Word. And Bridget sound mad white, yo. Word. Mm-hmm.
Gemini's twin rocks.
But it all good because she make me look ethnic.
Yeah, word on that. That's by accident.
Michael still finds faults and orders changes.
Right. Without us, they'd be out there walking around saying nothing.
Because the dialogue is constantly being trimmed and rewritten, the cue cards are always changing.
Lose and good for you,
I take out all the black on the floor.
Even after the show has started.
We'll get rewrites literally 30 seconds before you see it.
So memorizing lines would be a big mistake.
There's the whole show ready to go right here.
We get a lot of changes, Scott.
Bruce? Bruce?
Will's Barologist sketch finds its rhythm. It's silly and funny. Still, that doesn't mean it will be on television later tonight. Daryl Hammond suits up for his role as Donald Rumsfeld.
Doing Clinton, right?
Yeah, right. Don't scare me.
The change has to be executed in 3 minutes, or Daryl will miss his entrance.
Do your flying. Details.
Which, of course, would be of little concern, except the show is live. On a given night, the show's biggest stars will play as many as a half-dozen parts, each role demanding something different from the actor. There's little goofing around during dress rehearsal. Will Ferrell is a study in concentration.
Ooh, Gotti!
Maya's Charo-esque political talk show host, Rebecca, is connecting. Daryl made his change. Will it stay in the show? Lorne will decide. Dress rehearsal is about half over, and Daryl still has 2 important impersonations.
Am I in the wrong place?
That's great, you guys.
There's just enough time to discuss the rough spots in the Rebecca sketch.
I felt like we came in late. Did you feel that way?
I didn't say my line on time.
Timing and delivery are everything in comedy. A beat missed here, a wrong word there. Success is in the details.
I feel bad because we're yelling and stuff, but you can still, if I know that you're going to get in there, I'll wait for you, like, oh, my Gotti. For some reason, I just constantly think, like, when are they going to find me out? All I see are the mistakes or the things, the jokes that got cut, or the timing was bad, or on something I did. I feel like we might have messed it up. I've wanted to be on the show since I was a kid, and, you know, I almost didn't come. I almost didn't take the job. I was so scared because it mattered so much.
Michaels gives note after note on camera angles, costume adjustments, and dialogue.
When it's your sketch, you have to sit on a chair like this. You have to sit next to Lorne and get notes from him as he watches it, which is terrifying for the first 2 years that you're there. It's just intimidating.
To this day, people are responsible for their piece. So if it works, and it's your vision and your, which isn't to say that I don't offer suggestions, but if it works, it's yours. if it doesn't work, it's yours. And I think that risk failure thing is a big part of it. And dress rehearsal is the full measure of it, because if it doesn't work, there's very little argument.
It's like auditioning each week to get on a show you already got.
I'm a mediocre dancer and I made it big. I'm America's sweetheart and I'm wearing a wig.
And there's no guarantee that you're even going to get on that weekend. So that's why it's so emotional, and that's why it's so hard.
To succeed on Saturday Night Live requires stamina, self-motivation, and resilience. It's a lesson all cast members must learn for themselves. No matter how well known or well liked you are,
Love you so much.
there are no guarantees.
There's certain things you don't miss, sometimes you don't get in the show. Like sometimes Saturday nights you're like, you try to get something on and it didn't work and it gets cut and you're waving goodnight and you're like, oh, your heart's sinking, and you have friends there and they're like, how come you weren't in the show? I don't miss that.
It's Michaels who's the maestro of this madness. There is a discreet distance between him and the cast. Approval is doled out, but not lavishly. Praise-craving performers either adjust or move on.
Like 2 books of harmonicas.
What's the time?
As Daryl becomes Rudy Giuliani, Dean's transformation to Michael Jackson takes shape.
This is what it's all about, baby. Going from choco mocha to creamy milky. It doesn't get any better than this.
And do mascara.
Red glasses? Does this work for you, Tisa?
You're sexy.
I'm sexy? If you saw me, would you date me if I look like this? Don't lie. I mean, let me know the truth.
I'll be your friend.
You'd be my friend.
The makeup and prosthetic device are scary good. Underneath it, Edwards is a bundle of nervous energy. This is what he's always dreamed of, a chance to be a star on Saturday night.
So this is it, Eddie. This is what we've been waiting for.
Oh, you rehearsed.
I'm sitting there playing around.
4 seconds, I'll be in pubis.
Michaels keeps his watch under the bleachers. It's his judgment and scrutiny that has kept the show on the air all these years. When you cast somebody, what do you have to see?
I don't know how you define it, but it's a sparkle. I mean, there's utility. You can see people. This person can play authority figures, or this person has a basket full of impressions they can do, or whatever. And there's also, are they likable? Do you like that person? Would you have that person in your home? Because television is very personal that way.
Michael saw that potential in Dennis Miller, Dana Carvey, John Lovitz, and Phil Hartman when he returned to take over the show in 1985.
I think you stink. Listen, Harry, if you're unhappy with my work, tell me now. You're through. Do you hear me? Through. You'll never work in this town again. Don't leave me hanging by a thread. Let me know where I stand.
Touch him! Love him! Lieber meine Abschmicky! Now I am as happy as a little girl.
In years to come, Mike Myers, Chris Farley, David Spade, and Adam Sandler would join the cast.
Ah, God, I love these fries.
You love him so much, why don't you marry him? Can I have some?
And the show started to become something of a permanent fixture until 1995.
I thought you were trying to lose weight.
Lay off me, I'm starving.
What happened was we had the network and the press both saying the same thing at the same time.
The show should be canceled.
The show should be canceled.
The public perception of the show was deteriorating. SNL was viewed as too sophomoric, or even worse, plain stupid. The press didn't think it was funny, neither did NBC. The ratings went down. Did you think you were going to be fired in 95?
It was not for lack of people trying. I think there was a moment where I was sort of hung out there.
Michaels was told to clean house, which he did, sort of.
Blow it up. Start fresh. Bring in a whole new group of people. And in essence, it's what I did.
Please welcome my best friend and roommate, Gobi! Fun!
The most recent incarnation of Saturday Night Live has been an amalgam of the juvenile comedy that critics tend to dislike and biting political humor based on the headlines of the day.
Why would our nation be at war with Islam? If you read the Quran, as I do almost constantly, you know that Islam is a religion of peace. Also, many prominent Americans are Muslim. For example, former Minnesota Vikings receiver Ahmad Rashad.
The perspective of comedy is always, it's complaining done with charm. You know, it's not, but at its core, there's some discontent, there's some distrust.
When Biography Close Up returns, the audience loves your character. That's good, right?
So, you had a thing with Gwyneth Paltrow's? Wow!
Yes, that's right.
You don't want to be Mango at age 60.
Dress rehearsal continues with Weekend Update.
Outgoing Mayor Rudy Giuliani, everybody!
Here's the bottom line, Johnny. Tina, New York, I ain't leaving. That's it.
Update is one section of the show that is not written on Tuesday night. Some of it was written earlier today.
Bloomberg, what are you doing here? Mr. Giuliani, I think the people in New York have spoken, and they want to see...
Shut up. Can it, small fry? I thought I told you to keep the car running.
That's right, that's right.
Get out. Sorry, sir.
Chris Kattan morphs from New York Mayor Mike Bloomberg into Mango. Mango has helped make Kattan a star. Now Mango is almost impossible to shake.
If you have a reoccurring character, it's easier to get that on, because everyone assumes it'll probably work. You've done, like, 70% of the work already, and people already know who that character is. But you don't want to be trapped doing those characters for the rest of your life. And, so many people, think I might be gay, which is, I can't blame them because I'm doing Mango and, other effeminate thingies. Yet I still write and submit things where I'm not that. But they know that Mango's going to work more, and, so you don't want to get stuck in that. You don't want to be Mango at age 60. You're on. I know!
See how that...
Thank you.
With the clock always winding closer to 11:30, the tempo and the pressure keep building. Here's a time-lapse shot of a set change during one commercial break. It's a dance only these guys know the steps to. And no one loses his cool.
There's no people around Saturday Night Live that are really running around going, oh my God, oh my God, what do we gotta do? Hurry up, and you gotta get that wig on, and remember, you gotta put the boobs on, because you're gonna be a girl in this next one, and you gotta, oh my God, and it's people come, like, okay, you gotta come over here now, let's do this. We have 1 minute, everyone's very calm.
Either we don't do it, or you do two jokes back to back.
Even as dress rehearsal continues, the writers and talent from Weekend Update whack their segment to bits.
Now, okay, what are we doing feature-wise?
I don't care for that 42, that doctor.
Jokes that die get cut.
It doesn't work.
Jokes that need help get tweaked.
If you did the porn thing, that would maybe give him enough time, if you did those back to back.
The show will be on the air in less than 2 hours.
It's gonna be good. These people you trust, you have faith in. You have to have faith in your fellow cast members. You have to have a lot of trust, because if you drop a line, they'll leave you hanging. You got to be there to ready to fall back, and someone's going to catch you. I trust everyone out there. I mean, I don't care what. I'll throw the water bottle, and someone will catch it. Tina Fey is like, I mean, if I bomb a joke, my joke sucks, she'll rebound.
She'll rescue it.
Yeah, always.
Wayne Newton has officially replaced Bob Hope as the head of the USO Celebrity Tour and will depart November 12th to entertain U.S. troops. Army generals say that the biggest danger to Newton when he performs is in the war zone is, quote, friendly fire. I stumbled over that and still got a giggle out of it. God, I fumbled that whole joke up, right?
No.
I'm getting hard on
You're very
myself.
pretty.
Catan's Mango kills, and that little cameo by Matt Damon adds that element of surprise the audience could never anticipate.
I haven't seen you since we broke up. You look great.
And Gwyneth Paltrow easily handles the time-honored Saturday night tradition of guest hosts mocking their own celebrity.
So basically, it saves. You lose that, and we lose that, and this goes up. So we get into it much quicker.
Okay, great.
Backstage, Will and longtime writer Jim Downey pour over changes in the opening sketch, where Farrell will play President Bush.
The second one, I want to be the Egyptian who says Al-Aram.
Somehow, the details of this conversation have to stay in Farrell's mind, along with the two sketches he has left to perform before the end of dress rehearsal.
The Bob Guccione one worked pretty well, too.
I'll tell you, the whole thing scares me. When I get scared, I yell, and when I yell, the only thing that can calm me down is more yelling.
While Daryl runs through cue cards for his parody of Chris Matthews, Chris Kattan becomes an Afghan commentator for the Hardball sketch. That's Maya, dressed like Condoleezza Rice.
It was great. It was really funny.
One of Michael's mantras is that the show must look like the day it airs. Afghanistan's in the news, and Hammond screams his way through Hardball.
Right now, and you know what that means? That means more yelling. You're watching Hardball. Then I've been a loser. I mean, I graduated college with a 2.1. I hit 0.32 as a college baseball player. I hit, I never really did anything very well at all, and it just seems so odd that Lauren would see me in a club and go, him, that guy.
When I first had my first hit single 30 years ago, I never imagined that one day all of my dreams would come true.
Finally, Dean gets his chance as Michael Jackson. The impersonation is effective, the makeup stunning, perhaps too good.
My nose surgically replaced and looked like an electrical socket. Step out!
I think I left a burner.
The Fear sketch is a devilishly complicated production, filled with music and video inserts. The punctuation must be precise.
I left 2 cans of gas in the sun under a magnifying glass!
Buster! We'll never get home!
Yes, over here.
Ladies, this is Kurt L. Darwish.
Ooh. Wow, look at you. Without the turban, I can tell you're one of the good ones.
The Atterbury sketch provides a great turn for Anna Gasteyer.
And frankly, sign me up for one of those head-to-toe, full-length numbers. I mean, believe me, the way I look some mornings, I just soon throw one of those on and be done with the whole affair. I was on Broadway last summer, and I was thinking, well, it's been 5 years, and Molly left, and Sherry left, and maybe it's time to think about it. And I was just like, boy, it's pretty exciting over there. It's a pretty fun job. Maybe they should start carrying those at Talbot. No kidding. They'd be very popular. No kidding. It is a lot of adrenaline. It is, and you can't mistake it. I mean, it is a crazy high and really fun when it's fun, you know?
God bless America. My name is Flacco, and this is my partner, Rufus. Yo,
Dress rehearsal concludes with Flacco and Rufus.
Y'all got anthrax. Nah, we just clouded.
Dean and Tracy Morgan play street hustlers, hoping to cash in on the anthrax scare.
The postal employees, even people in other professions, like your mailman. Is no one safe? Yes. But never fear, because we're here to announce Flacco and Rufus' all-purpose anthrax prevention kit.
I'm having fun. I get off every show, So that's what it's about for me, getting off. And I think I get off enough. I get off. I would love to get off more, though. Sure.
I ain't ready to go back.
Through the years, there have been complaints that the show's too white and that women don't get equal time. Michael says all he's ever tried to do is develop an ensemble.
There's an enormous amount that's unfair. The whole show is based on concepts which are unfair. Talent is unfair. It's not equally distributed. It is, you know, and it's a show about talent shining.
I think you're lost in that chair.
When we come back, comedic Darwinism, survival of the funniest.
When Mango says he has a date with Matt Damon, you're going to have a response. You and Matt Damon?
Can Anna do the change into Atterbury's? Yeah.
Dress rehearsal is over. It's now less than 90 minutes till airtime. The cast waits, while behind closed doors, Lorne Michaels meets with his senior staff and guest host Gwyneth Paltrow to determine what will be in tonight's show.
How long will it Flacco?
44.
And how long is Rebecca?
507.
Okay, so we're the ballpark.
Should one of those go?
Easier to
What?
take
Should
time
one
out,
of those two go entirely?
Probably yes. To be perfectly honest, but we can leave it in for now and go in a little longer and make the decision as we go.
Which is funnier?
Oh, like that's important. All right, let's find out.
As the cast enters, one by one they examine the board to see if their sketches have made it. Lorne gives the cast its final notes, and Dean Edwards tries to keep his game face. Flacco and Rufus are in. His Michael Jackson sketch is not.
Oh, the Michael Jackson King of Pop sketch was cut.
So better luck next time.
I hope so. I feel bad for Dean Edwards. His Michael Jackson impression was remarkable, like the best I've ever seen.
Michaels liked Dean's impression, but felt the makeup was too much, breaking a cardinal rule. The audience must always be able to identify a cast member.
Too much at the top. Can we just start moving?
Also cut, Daryl's hardball, Will's barologist, and Fear, at least for tonight.
I want Gwyneth up earlier on the song.
When Farrell started with the show, he says he was singled out in one review as being the most annoying newcomer. Now he is a star. Michaels told us he wished Farrell would stay forever. Saturday night doesn't work that way.
I make the analogy that I don't want to be the guy 2 years out of high school still hanging out in the parking lot in my car saying hi to the students who are now seniors who were sophomore and freshmen when I was, you know.
Good luck. Try not to embarrass.
Because of the cast, because of the content, SNL's been on a roll for several years now, and just where Michaels wants it, in the middle of the American conversation.
It's the thing I'm most drawn to or addicted to or committed to, whatever word you want, in terms of network television. The idea of a broadcast, the idea that everybody has the same experience at the same time, that the whole country sees, whether it's the 7th game of the World Series or the Carol Burnett reunion special or some news event, that we all have the same experience is a very important thing because it leads to people talking about it the next day.
But on the other hand, how can the show stay revolutionary when everybody in the country quotes from it?
Right, but I don't think it was ever that revolutionary. It just looked different. It was fashion. You know, we were a comedy show. You know, there were jokes that people remember, and there were thousands of jokes that they don't remember because they didn't work. You know, we had an impact because we were first. I think you could only be first once, and you can only have that experience once. I think if we were still revolutionary the way we were in the 70s, we'd be on some oldies tour.
The show will go on the air in 1 minute.
Thing will come up, anthrax prevention kit.
Bow.
Yep.
Put it back down.
Then, when that thing comes up and there's a whoosh, you go, yeah, that's cool.
Tracy doesn't know it yet, but the show will run long. Flacco and Rufus won't make it.
So you're thinking what right now?
That it was a very, very good dress rehearsal, which is always a little scary. A bad dress tends to frighten people more, and people rise up.
After all these years, are you nervous at all right now?
Yeah.
Right now?
I don't know that I'm more nervous right now. I mean, you're here, and that's comforting. And no, I think it's you know, I think the only advantage of getting older is that you know when to worry. And so I'm not particularly worried right now. I will be in a couple minutes.
We'll let you go get worried then. The reason no one else does a live TV show like this anymore is it's just so difficult. And whether it's funny or not,
10 seconds!
well, that question gets answered every week.
5 seconds!
Sometimes it really is.
You'll never forget that spot on that Saturday Night Live stage of where you did that first sketch that goes over really well. You remember that forever. It's totally changed my life in every possible way, truly. I can't even imagine my life without it now.
It's great excitement followed by tremendous disappointment, followed by exhaustion, followed by starting that same thing all over again. I don't think it's something that you're meant to do for too long.
It could be that sense of the underdog too, like high school. I mean, that's what made me want to get on SNL. You know, being the underdog, like, well, I'm gonna be on SNL someday maybe. And how cool is it to, you know, swat J-Lo's butt? You know, kind of, that's the best thing.
Creatively, there's nothing better.
You know, this is Gilda Radner, John Belushi. Sometimes it's hard for me to believe it, that I'm a part of this.
Why do you stay? Because I love it, because it's what I do, and because I think it's important. And I get paid a lot.
My favorite part of the show is the end of the show. It's a wrap. You can't go back. It was a live show. If you flubbed your lines tough, you did the best you could, and this is it. This is what we do for a living. And you hug each other and you say, it was fun. I hope you had a good time. See you next week.